Pakistan, despite promising the US it would sever ties. That's BBC NewsHour at 9 on 93.9 FM, WNYC.
53 degrees right now in Central Park.
We'll update the stock market after 3 down days.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive Insurance, protecting small businesses with specialized coverages for commercial vehicles. More at progressivecommercial.com. And by UKG. Ultimate Kronos Group offers HR solutions to connect modern workforces. UKG.com. Our purpose is people.
I'm David Brancaccio. There is news just now that the number of people who signed up for unemployment benefits in the last week remains high, but at least fell from 791,000 to 731,000 in the most recent week after new layoffs. Stock index futures in the U.S. are mixed this morning after 3 sharply down days where the S&P 500 index has lost a combined 5.6%. Yesterday, the Dow closed down 943 points, 3.4%, with market players worried about what new waves of coronavirus will do to people and the economy. This morning, an earlier rally has started to fizzle, with the Dow future down 62 points now, 0.2%. The Nasdaq future is up 0.4%. Europe turned down as well. Marketplace's Victoria Craig is in London.
Global financial markets have reversed earlier session gains that brought some relief after investors were shaken Wednesday by new coronavirus restrictions across Europe and increased hospitalizations in the U.S. London's FTSE and Frankfurt's DAX are down in the 0.2 to 0.3% range. The CAC in Paris is down nearly 1%. That's after police say 3 people were killed this morning in a knife attack inside the Notre Dame Basilica in the southern city of Nice.
Victoria's Marketplace BBC. And for what it's worth, there's a veteran S&P analyst, Sam Stovall, who thinks how the S&P 500 stock index performs August to October of an election year predicts who'll win for president. If the S&P is up August through tomorrow, Trump wins. If it's down, Biden wins. Stovall says his indicator tends to work, but acknowledges it failed in 1956 when Eisenhower won. Because the S&P has collapsed this week amid a new wave of coronavirus cases, this indicator right now at least suggests that Biden will win, but it's super close with 2 trading days of October left, and the S&P future is little changed at the moment. Now, do I buy this analysis? All I know is that when leaves fall off deciduous trees in the Northern Hemisphere, there's a 1 in 4 chance there will be a presidential election that year. Authorities say a hacking group is behind a large-scale scheme to hold data in hospital computers for ransom. Marketplace's Nova Safo is here with more.
This alert coming from the FBI, Department of Health and Human Services, and the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. They say cyber criminals are targeting the healthcare sector for ransomware attacks and data theft, and that's going to pose increased challenges during the pandemic. At least 4 hospitals reportedly have been hit just this week, and cybersecurity experts say hundreds more could be at risk, particularly for a ransomware attack where criminals scramble a healthcare provider's data, including patient information and lab results, and then demand money, millions of dollars, to make that data readable again. And we know this can have deadly consequences, David. Microsoft and German authorities say a similar attack at a hospital in that country resulted in the death of a patient. That happened last month. Also last month, we reported about a network outage at some 200 facilities here in the U.S., including hospitals owned by Universal Health Services. That outage was caused by an apparent ransomware attack.
So who are these crooks, Noah?
Well, we don't know exact identities of who's doing this, but experts say it's likely a group of Russian-speaking hackers they've been aware of for a few years now. Microsoft says this group, which operates computer infrastructure carrying out the attacks, likely serves both nation-states and criminal networks, David.
Nova, thank you.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Databricks, simplifying data and AI. Thousands of data teams use Databricks Cloud Data Platform to innovate faster. Learn more at Databricks.com.
Now to how one county has tried to beef up its election system to deal with all the mail-in ballots when you run an election during a pandemic. It's Montgomery County, the one in Pennsylvania, with 830,000 people right near Philadelphia. Kenneth Lawrence, Jr. is Vice Chair of the Board of Commissioners and Chair of the Montgomery County Board of Elections. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
When you got, I think it was something close to $1.7 million from your county to beef up systems for a pandemic election, what were your priorities for what you would do?
Well, we tried to learn from the primary election where we had 126,000 mail-in ballots that we needed to count. And it took us 17 days to do that. So we've invested over $1 million in technology, envelope extractor machines, and then high-speed scanners so that we can count our mail-in ballots much quicker next week.
I mean, that's just part of it, right? Just getting the envelopes open. So now you'll have some technological aid for that?
Yeah, we have over 200,000 ballots back already. And of course, we'll be accepting them until 8 p.m. on Election Day and beyond. So, yeah, the first step is just to get them out of the envelopes. And then they have to be flattened and sorted, and then you begin the scanning. So we can't begin any of that until 7 a.m. on Election Day.
Yeah, we should explain that. Some states cannot start counting mail-in votes until Election Day, and among those states is yours, Pennsylvania.
They call that pre-canvassing. This is our first general election with no excuse mail-in voting. But most other jurisdictions that I've seen allow people to begin canvassing up to 3 weeks before or even the weekend before. We were hoping that it would be worked out with the governor and the General Assembly to allow us to do that. That did not happen. So we can't begin preparing the ballots to count until 7 a.m. on Election Day.
So you've got some more technology. What about the troops? You're going to need humans.
We have tripled the size of our voter services office. And then, of course, we have tabulators who will start that day as well. Poll workers have been great. We had an issue with that during the primary, but we have more than enough poll workers. And once we begin counting, we're not going to stop counting until we're done. So it will be a 24/7 operation, but I do not believe it will take 7 days to do it.
You know, people keep thinking of, well, I wonder what the result's going to be on election night. It's almost the wrong way to frame it this time around.
Now, we will not have a result on election night. I mean, there's literally no way that we can get through those ballots because this is what happens with mail-in elections. Unless and until we get pre-canvassing, which we don't have here, we will not have final results on election night.
Kenneth Lawrence is vice chair of the Board of Commissioners and chair of the Montgomery County Board of Elections in Pennsylvania, that Montgomery County. Mr. Lawrence, thank you.
Thank you.
The Business of Voting, a closer look at election infrastructure in 2020. Listen for more of our coverage as we get into the final stretch here. I'm David Brancaccio. This is the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.